what I saw behind the scenes were Democrats that were jovial at Trump's actions, even when they were horrific to people, because it was an opportunity to fundraise off of it. It was a guarantee that they'll win the next presidency. And I had even heard some people say the same thing Carville just said. Well, don't really fight it. We're pushing against it too much. Let it happen. That way people will vote for us next time. And I'm like, really? You don't want to run on policies? You don't want to fight this? You don't want to do anything? And you think people are still going to vote for you?
Hey, it's Jordan. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio, Tumwa, Iowa. Please support the only independent outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers up.
I'm not going to play this whole clip, and some might be wondering, Jordan, who cares what James Carville thinks? Well, unfortunately, James Carville and his ilk are still in charge of the Democratic Party. And as of now, for better or worse, they are technically the main opposition party to the fascists. So, and I'm comfortable saying fascists at this point. I've always been careful about using the F word with Trump. I think it's appropriate now, particularly what he's doing with Musk and all of this craziness. And if we have time to get to it, he's openly, it's not a joke anymore. He's openly talking about running for a third term and just blowing off the Constitution. So let's play you James Carville. His big idea now is for Democrats to just lie back and enjoy the show.
Let me ask you this. So you got a lot of Democrats who have been sort of yelling and screaming about a lot of these nominations, and in some cases, I think rightly so, and in other cases, I think it's been a bit overwrought. But, it seems that the angrier Democrats get, the more it feeds into exactly what Donald Trump and Elon Musk and some of these other folks want. Meaning, Fox News plays sound bites of Democrats' heads exploding as sort of sport. So what should they do from a media or political perspective?
Well, okay, I'm going to tease a piece I'm pretty sure will be coming out that I'm doing in the New York Times, probably Monday or Tuesday, but sometimes they'll kill it. But what I've said very publicly is that Democrats need to play possum. This whole thing is collapsing. It doesn't need Elizabeth Warren and somebody screaming to pacify some progressive advocacy groups in Washington, which, by the way, I wish these people were just useless. They're actually worse than useless, that they're detrimental. And they never, ever learn to shut up. And so, Dan, this is what I believe. I believe that this administration, in less than 30 days, in the midst of a massive collapse, and particularly a collapse in public opinion. Della Volpe at Harvard, who's very good. I used to think, once I saw a Harvard youth poll, I discounted it. I've come to say it's a pretty damn good poll. Pretty good guy. He's gone from 53 approval to under 30 to 39. That's a collapse. And all we need to do, the analogy I use, is picket is 500 yards from the stone wall. Hold your fire. It's going to be easy pickings here in a
So
6
Zana,
weeks.
as the fascists are gutting government agencies, gutting off healthcare workers, as we have the worst flu season in 2 decades, a spreading bird flu, recklessly and randomly firing nuclear, folks that handle our nuclear programs, recklessly firing veterans who, Republicans love the flag, but now we're just, pissing on the flag and laying off veterans as they lay off or try to just get rid of the Department of Education. As, by the way, we haven't even talked about, Trump is trying to continue his first term effort to privatize Medicare and make cuts to Medicaid. The great idea from James Carville, who has not been right politically in 30 years, and I think wrote a New York Times or a store column 6 months ago saying Kamala was definitely going to win. The grand vision here, put her on a bumper sticker, is play possum.
It's Tales from the Crypt of failed Democratic Party strategies. That's what that episode was. And just as scary, it's so crazy. I saw an interview with Chris Murphy where he was saying that our party needs to broaden out even broader to where we have absolutely no values whatsoever. What are you doing? And this guy, James Carville, is saying, just be quiet, let them fail. What that says to me is somebody who's poor, somebody from Appalachia, somebody who sees people struggling around me, is that we don't matter. All the people that are going to be impacted by these policies, all the people that have lost their jobs are going to lose their jobs, the economy, let it all tank so the Democrats can win. What an insane thing to say. Just let people suffer. If people suffer, if people die, if people get sick, if there's things that are cut that we can't even roll back, which I don't trust Democrats to fix anything. They haven't even fixed Reaganomics yet, because they don't want to, because they're doing the bidding of their corporate donors. But to just lay down and keep your mouth shut is a ridiculous strategy. All it does is normalize what is happening right now. There's zero opposition to it, right? If you have to combat the lies, you have to tell the truth. Go ahead.
Can I just say, because we all get it wrong sometimes, right? Nobody's perfect. These were the same people who said he's done after the Access Hollywood tapes came out. You know, grab him by the pee. Oh, he's done. He's gonna have to drop out. Right. These are the same people who said he was done when he said McCain isn't a real war hero or whatever. These are the same people who said not Carville in particular, to his credit, he was calling for Biden to drop out. But most of the Democrats saying right now, like, there's not much we could do. Hey, we're winning in the courts. They were the ones telling you Biden has the stamina of 3 bulls. You know, these are the people who are over and over and over and over and over wrong and push over and over the wrong candidates and read the political moment completely wrong and then blame it on the left, who has been
on purpose.
Right.
They're not just reading it wrong. They're not just in a bubble and out of touch, which I think they are that as well. And they're not just elite and out of touch, which they are that as well on top of this. But as long as there is a rotating villain, a boogeyman, the more extreme that boogeyman is, the more they fundraise, the more profitable it is, the harder it becomes on people. When a Republican is in office, the less economic solutions they have to offer, the less they have to do to us. And we've seen this pattern over and over and over again in the last, 12, 14 years, right? The less they have to do, as long as the person that is running is horrible. So when I saw behind the scenes, I was never a Democrat, but I worked around Democrats when I was helping assist candidates. And what I saw behind the scenes were Democrats that were jovial at Trump's actions, even when they were horrific to people, because it was an opportunity to fundraise off of it. It was a guarantee that they'll win the next presidency. And I had even heard some people say the same thing Carville just said. Well, don't really fight it. We're pushing against it too much. Let it happen. That way people will vote for us next time. And I'm like, really? You don't want to run on policies? You don't want to fight this? You don't want to do anything? And you think people are still going to vote for you, even though you're not doing anything? You're not doing anything?
Let's play another clip. This is Gerry Connolly. He's an 84-year-old who, I guess the Nancy Pelosi pushed it that this guy would beat AOC, who I've got a lot of criticisms of, to be the, ranking Democrat on the House Oversight Committee. He also has a very severe cancer, so probably not the right guy to lead Democrats in oversight. Let's play what his response was. An anchor asked them, hey, how should government workers respond to President Musk's email demanding to see their work?
Federal workers should do when they turn on the news today, they hear this and they're like, I got a deadline by tomorrow night. What, should I do this?
Yeah, I hesitate to give personal advice. I guess if you can, cover yourself and do the 5 things you did last week just to be able to say, well, I did it.
Oh, God.
That's terrible advice, because even the heads of their departments were saying, don't do this.
And meanwhile, and this is going to be a backhanded compliment because I'm going to criticize Bernie on the back end of this. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders at the spry age of 83, 84, 80, I forget, 83 or 84, one of them, is barnstorming mid-America over the last few days. He's in Omaha. He's in a bunch of places. And he's got overflow crowds of 3,000 to 4,000 people showing up for his Fight the Oligarchy tour. Colin, I don't know if you had a chance. Did you get a clip of that?
I here in Omaha, Nebraska tonight. This country today, under Trump, faces a series of crises unprecedented in our modern history. And what we do now will impact not only our lives, but the lives of our kids, grandchildren, future generations, and whether the planet itself survives. I'm here in Omaha because the time to act is now. The time to fight back is now. And let me give you some good news and bad news.
Are there any other Democrats even speaking like that? And I know he's not a Democrat, this and that. He's got, we didn't show you the crowd there because it wasn't our cameraman. This was thousands of people in Omaha, Nebraska. And he went to a few other stops, thousands of people. He is doing this after the Democratic Party rigged 2 elections against him. That message, and he goes on to talk about how Trump is going to, screw workers, cut Medicaid, this and that. That's been the winning message all along. It's just the Democrats, like Zana said, don't want that message to be a winning message because it would hurt their donors. It would hurt their ability to do legal insider trading. And I got to say, credit to Bernie for doing it. But at this point, Bernie, why are you out there trying to bring people back into this same Democratic Party that has enabled this? I mean, I understand you're on your way out. I don't mean, knock on wood, he's got a lot more time on this earth. I mean, politically, he's not going to be in office for the next 20 years. But this would be the perfect time with this moment and this frustration against the Republicans. And by the way, a lot of like MSNBC liberals are pissed off at the Democratic Party. This would be the perfect time for Bernie Sanders to be out there, Fight the Oligarchy tour, saying we need a new party. Mm-hmm. We need a new party. This is the time. So I'm happy to see him out there. The Democrats should be listening to him. Thousands of people are not showing up for Chris Murphy. Thousands of people are not showing up for Chuck Schumer. Schumer would be lucky if he got 50. But at this point, the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over. Why are you trying to bring them back into the Democratic Party fold? It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, one thing I will give him credit for, and you know how much I support third parties. I think that the Democrats should go the way of the Whigs, right? I think that the party is done. But one thing I will say, just to be objective, is that at least he was calling for strikes, and he was calling for a general strike, and he was calling for economic boycotts. And those are the kinds of things that we can do right now, because elections for Congress are 2 years away. We can talk about local elections that will be in a year, but that is still a year away for some of these local elections. A lot of them are still 2 years away. So what we're looking at is maybe not a year away. It depends on which state, but even state elections aren't tomorrow. But we do need organizing right now. We still need to look forward and forward thinking. But one of the things is with everything that's going on right now, unless there is mass uprising right now, a lot of people are going to be very hurt in the interim between now and the next election cycle. And 2 years is a long time. What has this last month felt like?
Right.
And I had 1,000 criticisms of the Biden administration. I'm not saying they're lesser evil. I think that they were an abhorrent administration. But I'm also realistic to what is happening at the moment, and it is dire.